To conclude about how consumers perceive value in smart connected ecosystems, we will summarize our research. The key question becomes, which factors drive adoption for each technology type, and how can CRM create value while protecting trust and well-being? The big idea is simple. Value is no longer only what I get for the price. In smart ecosystems, value also comes from comfort, reduced stress, trust, and feeling in control. Throughout this chapter, we have connected the results to well-known theories in marketing and information systems, UT2, privacy calculus theory, trust theory, and transformative service research. Our extensive research gives a key finding. Well-being drives adoption more than satisfaction or performance. In simple words, people adopt smart technologies not only because they work, but because they make life feel better. Less stress, more comfort, more confidence. This connects perfectly to transformative service research. Value is not only economic, it is also psychological and social. It also extends UT2, performance expectancy matters, but it is not enough to explain adoption in smart ecosystems. And for CRM, it means retention strategies should focus on ongoing well-being outcomes, not only feature updates. Based on our research, we developed a combined technology adoption grid that maps each technology on two simple indexes, a cognitive index and an affective index. The cognitive index captures the utilitarian engine of adoption. It reflects performance expectancy and effort expectancy from UT2, and it also includes trust and the presence of barriers such as technology risks, privacy risks, and ethical risks. In plain words, this index answers the question, does this technology look useful, easy, and safe enough to adopt? The affective index captures the emotional engine of adoption. It reflects the perceived well-being value, social presence, social recognition, and personalization value, which aligns with transformative service research and relationship marketing. In plain words, this index answers the question, does this technology feel meaningful, supportive, and emotionally acceptable in everyday life? This grid clearly separates two adoption engines that often get mixed up in technology debates. Many companies assume adoption is mainly rational, so they focus on technical performance or convenience. Other firms assume adoption is mainly emotional, so they focus on experience and storytelling. Our grid shows that both are needed, but not equally for every technology. That is why the grid is useful as a managerial tool. It gives an easy adoption positioning for each technology and suggests which adoption strategy fits best. At the top right, we find all-round adoption leaders, meaning technologies that score high on both the cognitive and the affective side. These are the cases where people see strong functional value and also experience strong emotional value. For example, smart homes combine clear usefulness with everyday comfort. They reduce friction in life, they save time, they can even reduce energy costs, and they create a sense of convenience and feeling taken care of. At the same time, smart homes can generate effective benefits because they shape the atmosphere at home, lighting, temperature, security alerts, and even wellness routines. That is why, for all-round adoption leaders, companies should communicate both rational and emotional value. They should explain performance and ease of use, but also show how the technology improves quality of life. They can scale faster because adoption is supported by two engines at once. Autonomous vehicles also sit in this all-round zone when people believe they improve safety, reliability, and time efficiency, while also creating a positive in-ride experience through well-being features such as temperature, security alerts, and even wellness routines. A self-driving car does not only promise transport, it promises reduced stress, more free time, and a new kind of mobility comfort. Home robots are another example. When they are reliable enough to be seen as useful, they also create emotional value by reducing daily burden. Even the idea of having help at home has a well-being meaning. In this zone, marketing should not choose between usefulness and emotion. It should integrate them. A message like, it saves you time and gives you peace of mind, is stronger than it saves you time alone. We find their BMIs too. In the lower right area, we find rational trust builders. These technologies score high on the cognitive index, but lower on the affective index. Here, adoption is mainly driven by utilitarian value, clarity of benefits, and reassurance that the technology is safe and controlled. A good example is a smart connected watch in a purely functional framing. Many users adopt it because it helps track steps, sleep, heart rate, and health indicators, which is a strong performance expectancy benefit. But some users may not feel much emotional attachment. They see it like an instrument. For these technologies, the adoption strategy should focus on practical value and low-friction experience design. The best CRM strategy is to reduce complexity, show clear dashboards, offer strong onboarding, and provide transparent explanations such as what data is tracked, why it matters, and how you can switch it off. Drones can also fall into this category depending on the use context. In delivery context, drones may be adopted because of speed and convenience, but they often trigger strong privacy concerns or safety concerns. That means the cognitive side must be reinforced through strict safety certification messages, visible regulation compliance, and clear control mechanisms. The emotional side is not the main adoption engine here. People do not need a drone to feel warm and connected. They need to believe it is safe, reliable, and not intrusive. Finally, we can find here smart retailers where speed and convenience through personalization trigger value. The two quadrants that are not represented in the current plotted technologies, emotion-driven builders and adoption barriers, are extremely important because they highlight where many innovations fail, not because they are technically weak, but because their perceived value profile is unbalanced. The emotion-driven builders quadrant refers to technologies with high effective value but lower cognitive reassurance. These technologies often feel exciting, intimate, human-like, or emotionally engaging, yet they face adoption barriers because users are uncertain about safety, data usage, or reliability. A classic example is social companion AI, such as conversational companions designed for emotional support. Many users can feel strong emotional connection because the system listens, reacts, and creates a sense of presence. However, adoption becomes fragile if users fear manipulation, unclear data use, or psychological dependency. Another example is smart baby monitors with AI that promise peace of mind by detecting breathing patterns or sleep issues. The emotional promise is very strong. Parents feel supported and less anxious. But cognitive barriers quickly appear if the system is seen as unreliable, gives false alarms, or collects sensitive family data without clear governance. In such cases, companies must focus on trust building, transparency, and perceived control. The strategy is to keep the emotional value while raising cognitive reassurance through explainable AI, medical-grade validation where relevant, and extremely clear privacy controls. Wearable mental health apps also fit well here. Many people value them emotionally because they reduce stress, offer mindfulness, or create a sense of personal support. But if users worry about privacy stigma or who sees my data, adoption can drop. This is a perfect case for privacy calculus theory. The emotional benefits are high, but perceived risk can dominate. So the adoption strategy must actively lower perceived risk by offering local data processing, clear consent, deletion options, and transparency dashboards. Adoption barriers, in contrast, describe technologies that score low on both the cognitive and affective sides. This is where customers neither see strong functional benefits nor feel emotional value, and risks or complexity dominate. Many early-stage or poorly implemented technologies fall into this zone. A good example is a complicated customer service chatbot that does not solve problems, does not understand context, and creates frustration. In this case, performance expectancy is low, effort expectancy is high, and there is no emotional comfort, only irritation. Another example is intrusive in-store facial recognition for personalized offers. Even if the technology is advanced, many consumers do not perceive immediate personal benefit, and the privacy risk feels very high. So both engines fail. The cognitive engine fails because usefulness is unclear and risk is high, and the affective engine fails because the system feels creepy rather than supportive. Another adoption barriers example is smart city surveillance applications that emphasize control and monitoring rather than citizen service improvement. If the public does not see personal benefit and trust in governance is weak, adoption and acceptance collapse. This is why, in smart city contexts, legitimacy is everything. The technology must be reframed around well-being outcomes such as safety, reduced congestion, or better air quality, and it must include strict transparency and accountability to avoid resistance. This is where our theoretical integration becomes very strong. The grid shows that smart CRM has to deliver value right in a dual system. It must deliver functional efficiency and emotional legitimacy at the same time. UT2 explains much of the cognitive pathway. People adopt when the technology is useful, easy, and socially supported, and when trust reduces uncertainty. Transformative service research and relationship marketing explain the effective pathway. People stay loyal when the technology improves quality of life, reduces stress, and creates a sense of meaningful personalization rather than manipulation. Regulatory focus theory then explains why different customers react differently to the same technology positioning. Prevention-focused customers are more sensitive to risk, safety, privacy, and control, so they prioritize the cognitive index. They want reassurance, governance, and reliability. Promotion-focused customers are more sensitive to growth, improvement, novelty, and positive emotions, so they respond more strongly to the affective index, especially personalization and well-being. This means the same technology may need different adoption strategies for different segments. For example, autonomous vehicles can be sold to prevention-focused customers through safety performance and transparent decision rules, while promotion-focused customers may respond more to freedom, time gained, and experience enhancement. Overall, this grid is a bridge between theory and practice. It translates academic constructs into a visual managerial tool that tells companies what to emphasize, what to fix, and where adoption is likely to be fragile. It also clarifies that more AI is not automatically better CRM. The best smart CRM designs are those that raise both indexes together to create overall value. They increase functional value and reduce friction, while also increasing emotional comfort, perceived fairness, and well-being. Here is a summary of our results for managerial key takeaways. For smart homes, main benefits include performance expectancy and well-being. The main barrier? Privacy concerns. For managers, this means the utility of the home must be so high that it overcomes the natural fear of being monitored. For autonomous vehicles, we see that well-being and trust are the biggest drivers. However, trust and well-being decrease at high levels of automation. That is, for fully autonomous cars. Users want a partner in the car, not a replacement for their own judgment. Drones face similar barriers. While they offer high efficiency, like fast delivery, they suffer from high privacy risks. Trust remains the key variable that managers must build. Social robots should offer high efficiency through human-like interaction. They suffer from high privacy risks and a perceived lack of personalization. Brain-machine interfaces should offer cognitive enhancements and health benefits, but they raise high ethical and health concerns. Chatbots should offer reliability and competencies. Trust remains the key variable that managers must build for all technologies. The takeaways for business? 1. Focus on well-being as a new KPI. 2. Build trust through transparency and technology security to win the privacy calculus. 3. Ensure the AI feels human-like for some technologies to increase social presence. And 4. Always empower the user to maintain a sense of control. In conclusion, the future of CRM is smart, connected, and empathic. By focusing on the two-path way of perceived value and well-being, rather than just data collection, brands can thrive in these new ecosystems. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.